Mom called him Michael, but everyone else knew him as Meatball. It started in kindergarten. He dropped his lunchbox. Spaghetti and meatballs went everywhere. The name stuck, like gum on the bottom of his shoe. Meatball's life was pretty sweet. If you liked being spoiled rotten, that is. He got everything he wanted. Video games, candy, even a pony. Okay, maybe not a pony. But he did get a pretty sweet dirt bike when he was 10. Meatball never had to work for anything, not even a thank you. He figured that's just how life worked. You cried loud enough, you got what you wanted. By the time he hit middle school, Meatball was the definition of high maintenance. He was less popular than a tuna sandwich in a locker room. Meatball didn't care. He had a system, and it was foolproof. Until it wasn't. High school was a whole new ball game, and Meatball was benched, hard. He tried his usual tricks. Didn't work. These kids were immune to his brand of charm, so Meatball decided to reinvent himself. He became the guy he thought everyone wanted to be friends with. He snuck out, tried energy drinks, even let someone copy his homework once. It backfired, obviously. Meatball was about as cool as a pair of socks after gym class. The only thing he was good at was being bad. And even then, he wasn't very good at it. He was like the understudy in the school play of life, always waiting in the wings, but never quite ready for the spotlight. Fast forward a few years, and a couple of questionable haircuts. Meatball was 30, and still living in his parents' basement. The only thing thriving was his collection of empty pizza boxes. He had a job. Kind of. He tested video games for a living, which basically meant he got paid to lose. His superpower was procrastination. He could put things off longer than anyone he knew. Life was a constant loop of mediocrity. Until one day, everything changed. Meatball discovered he had an actual superpower. It happened while he was microwaving a burrito. The microwave exploded. Sparks flew. Meatball braced himself for the pain, but it never came. He looked in the reflection of the microwave door. He was gone. Invisible. Meatball freaked out. Then he calmed down. This was awesome! He could finally get back at all those kids who ignored him in high school. He could sneak into concerts. He could even steal all the pudding cups from the grocery store. This was his ticket to greatness. Except for one small problem. No one noticed. At first it was kind of funny. He'd walk through walls. People would just walk around the space where he was standing. He even tried tripping his arch nemesis from high school, who still wouldn't recognize him, by the way. Nothing. It was like the universe had hit the mute button on Meatball. He was a walking, talking paradox, a superpowered nobody. Meatball went from being excited about his invisibility to downright depressed. He couldn't even get his parents to notice he was eating all the snacks. They just assumed the house was haunted. Section 6, Operation D-Power. Meatball had enough. He needed to get rid of this superpower. He started by doing what any sane person would do. He Googled it, how to get rid of invisibility. The results were less than helpful. He tried everything. He stood in a salt circle under a full moon. He drank pickle juice and milk. Gross. He even called the customer service hotline for the microwave company. Nothing worked. Meatball was stuck being the invisible man, and it was driving him crazy. Section 7. A glimmer of hope, or just heartburn. One day while browsing the internet, and by browsing, we mean looking at pictures of cats, Meatball stumbled upon a forum. It was for people with, you guessed it, superpowers. He created an anonymous profile, username InvisibleDude69, and poured his heart out. To his surprise, someone responded. The message read, "I know how you feel. My superpower is making people spontaneously combust into a cloud of potato chips. No one takes me seriously either." It was signed Chipper. Meatball had found a kindred spirit. Finally, someone who understood. Section 8. The universe's cruel joke. Meatball and Chipper exchanged messages for weeks. They complained about their powers, their lack of recognition, and the high cost of therapy. They even planned to meet up in real life. Meatball was nervous but excited. Maybe he wasn't alone after all. The day of the meetup arrived. Meatball went to the designated coffee shop. He saw a girl sitting alone. She was reading a comic book and had a giant bag of potato chips next to her. "Chipper?" he asked, his voice cracking with nervousness. The girl looked up, startled. "How did you know my name?" she asked, her eyes wide. Meatball froze. She couldn't see him. Of course not. He was invisible. The universe was laughing at him. Section 9. Meatball's moment of truth, or at least acceptance. Meatball slumped down in the chair across from Chipper. He spent the next hour telling her his whole story. Well, the part she could actually hear anyway. When he was finished, Chipper laughed. It wasn't a mean laugh, it was more of a sympathetic, "I can't believe this is happening" kind of laugh. "You know," she said, wiping a tear from her eye, "maybe our powers aren't about being noticed by everyone else. Maybe they're about finding the people who matter, the ones who see us for who we really are." Meatball considered this. Maybe she was right. Or maybe she was just saying that because she couldn't see him anyway. Either way, it gave him something he hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. Meatball's life as a superpowered nobody was far from over. But maybe, just maybe, he was finally starting to figure it out.